Hello, hello, hello. This is Coach Kemi, CEO and founder of How to Think Global Consulting Empire. I hope you are having a great day. I felt like, looking all nice and summery, so I got out my lovely dress, sleeveless dress, and but it's turning out to be a wee bit cold, a wee bit nippy. So I will probably throw on a cardigan shortly. But today, um, I am going to be sharing with you. Oh, hi, someone's here already. Hello, thank you for joining me. I'm going to be sharing with you a topic I have entitled Let's Be Clear. Let me be clear, or to be clear, controlling your emotions does not mean becoming like your boss. Because some of us think, we could become like the boss. We might become like the boss, but you never know. Now, let me tell you who I am speaking to in this live stream. Hi, Dion. Thanks for joining me. I am speaking to you if you are a female and you aspire for a senior position in your organization or in another organization, and you feel that you are able and you have what it takes. Those are the people I work with. So really, the people I help are those, as I've said, they're either private clients or those females who work in the corporate space, that you have a 9 to 5 in the corporate space and you aspire for senior positions. What I help you to do is to identify and define the thoughts that you have, because your thoughts create your emotions. And we're looking at emotional intelligence all of this month in every single one of my live streams. So we'll be identifying and defining right thinking so that it will result in greater, better productivity and performance. Your productivity and your performance. You see, because there are lots of narratives that need to cease. And even if they exist, you should not be one of those helping people to share those narratives. And there are lots of stereotypes that just need to cease. I really dislike narratives and stereotypes because it makes everybody the same. You look the same, you talk the same, you discuss the same thing. When you get onto an organization, maybe you bought something and the stuff got spoiled or has a defect, and without fail, the salesperson on the other end or the customer service person goes, well, like I said, we are unable to do anything for you until you bring it into the shop. And you say something else and they go, well, and they repeat themselves like automatons, like they can't think. And I can't do that. So don't repeat a narrative just because like, oh, there's a glass ceiling. Don't say that. Don't say that. Even if it's an affirmation, any affirmation must become yours. Don't just say it. It must become yours before you say it. Otherwise, it will not work for you. And just as a quick tidbit here, for something to become yours, even a narrative, it needs to become yours. For it to become yours, you need to go on the thinking journey. Go on the thinking journey. What does this narrative mean? Where did it start? Is it true? You need to check it out yourself. When it comes to affirmations, I am wealthy. Don't just say it. It won't work for you. You need to learn how to think about I am wealthy. What does that mean? That means I am wealthy. Okay, that means I have excess. I have surplus. I can help others. You're thinking that way. It becomes yours over a period of time. When you say it, you will say it with power. You won't just say it. You will say it with power. So let's move straight into it. To be clear, controlling your emotions does not mean becoming like your boss. I'll be looking at my notes, so bear with me. So there's a common narrative about individuals in senior positions. The common narrative is that they're cold. When you go and meet them, they don't really talk with you at the level that you can feel free and speak with them. They're cold, they are calculating, they do not show much emotion, or so it seems. They are just it's all about the bottom line for those senior executives. And and so many other stereotypes. Well, let me tell you, it does not follow that being a senior executive means being cold, because that's where you're on your way to. You're on your way to either the C-suite level or the boardroom. It's not don't do this, don't do that. It affects the bottom line this way. We cannot have you off for 2 days. Not every senior executive is like that. And what I've just described is an emotion, isn't it? Being cold and calculating and direct and clear. And I have fallen into that as a leader myself. It was all about, let's get this done. Come on, people, let's get this done. We don't have time to be messing about. There's a time for that. But there's also a time when you sit down, you calm down as the leader and say, okay, so what's the situation with you? Where are you? I remember a leader I had at my church, my senior pastor actually, quite a few years ago. I was one of the leaders and he wanted to see each leader. And I thought it was, oh, talk to me about your team, what's happening. And as soon as I sat down, he said, this has nothing to do with your team, has nothing to do with your work. It has to do with you. How are you doing? That was like warm water all over me. How are you doing? How are things at home? Are you okay financially, emotionally, everything? That's what he wanted to know. And that just blessed me. As someone aspiring for senior level positions, you need to know how to control your emotions to that extent. Controlling your emotions is part of right living, which is a function of right thinking. We've got to get it done. Oh, I've got to get a qualification. Oh, I've got to speak to, I've got to go to the pub. You know, they say when you go to the pub, when you mingle, those are people that get the promotions. It's not all cut and dried. Now, remember that emotional intelligence is self-regulation and being self-aware. Many of us don't know ourselves. We are not aware of ourselves, especially women. We wake up, we've got to get the kids ready, we've got to get ourselves to the train station or drive to work. We've got to make sure the husband is fine. We've got to make sure we've done the shopping. And then in that busyness, you do not know yourself. You don't recognize who you are. And therefore, you do not know your hot buttons. You just know, well, you know, I did something. My live stream yesterday was, this is who I am. This is who I am. Yeah, that's who I am. And you've been living with that, your personal narrative. Oh, that's who I am. No. You can be better, but you've got to know you. And so that's part of what emotional intelligence is about. 9 to 5, a 9 to 5 is an emotion-filled space. Like it or leave it, leave it. A 9 to 5 job is an emotion-filled space. Next week, I'm going to be looking at mental health. Your inability to control your emotions can make you mentally ill. Because mental ill health is a function of wrong thinking. But that's for next week. So 9 to 5 is an emotion-filled space. You need to know how to control your emotions if you are late or if you're on time, if you have colleagues who rub you up, so to speak, the wrong way, in quotes, if you have a leader, your direct reports, they don't treat you well, talk to you well, or someone goes over you to speak to your director or your chief executive officer or chief information officer, instead of speaking directly to you, you don't have a great, it's all emotion. And as long as you can regulate it, don't switch it off. That's who you are, that's how you're wired. You can regulate it. You cannot regulate what you are not aware of. You cannot regulate what you are not aware of. So if this interests you, what I have shared with you, interests you, I've had, I think I had 2 breakfasts because I got hungry later. If you like what I've shared with you, you would like to gain mastery over your emotions, I am hosting a VIP day, a half-day VIP day, which I've entitled Discover How to Control Your Emotions at Work, at Home, anywhere without being cold or without becoming cold. And it's for women who work in the 9 to 5 corporate space and aspire for senior positions. but feel they are unqualified or not qualified, or have been in their current post for more than 3 years. Many times it's not that you cannot or you will not be promoted or you are not qualified. It's because you disqualify yourself. It's because you don't know how to control or regulate your emotions. So this is a short few hours, 3.5 hours with me, and you're going to leave knowing how to use your emotions to work for you so that you show up with bold confidence, thereby becoming more visible, and your voice is heard. Because that's one thing females have an issues with. Their voices are not heard. Your voice is heard, and that voice makes effective changes which benefit your organization. Because remember, you're a human resource. You're a resource to move the organization up and forward. You're not a resource to pull the organization down. So the sessions are held on Wednesdays virtually, and it's for 3.5 hours at 3 p.m. British Standard Time, and that is 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. It is online, so you can join me from wherever you are in the world, and that's the beauty about the internet space. So here's what we are going to cover. I'm going to be reading from my notes because I have a list of things we're going to cover. We're going to cover where you are emotionally, where you want to be, and what the gap is. Now, we're going to use about a half hour to 45 minutes, or maybe up to an hour. We're going to jump on a call. This is not part of your 3.5 hours. We're going to jump on an initial call so that, and during that session, we would have laid a foundation so that when we actually meet, we would have covered some ground. We don't have to go through that again when we actually sit down, meet together online. Then the first 45 minutes when we actually meet, I'm going to walk you through step by step the READY formula for promotion. The READY formula for promotion. READY, R-E-A-D-Y, is an acronym I use to prepare you for what we are to do and introduce you to yourself, your right thinking self that sets you up for promotion. That's the first 45 minutes. The next hour, you will also learn the connection between your RQ and your EIQ. That is your relationship quotient and your emotional intelligence quotient. Now, this is connected. Your relationship quotient is connected to your emotions, and it's how you should use it at work. This is so I'll be showing you how you use your emotions at work so that your relationships benefit you and benefits the people you relate with, and it benefits you and your colleagues. So here you will learn some thinking skills that will help you control your emotions, because you see there's an art to thinking. There's a dance and a science to thinking. There's a scripture to thinking. So I'm going to teach you those things in that hour. The next hour, we shall role play and you will do some homework. Now in this hour, this will help you and I see if there are other hidden roadblocks that have not come up in our conversation. And that happens a lot with women that I work with. They don't realize that there are some other hidden, they are hidden thoughts. That's why they don't come up, because they've been thinking that way for so long, they don't recognize that it's actually there. Okay. And in the last 45 minutes, we shall recap and do some Q&A, so you can ask me any questions. And you will leave with the Think Fast, Think Strong template. This template will help you achieve faster and stronger. I'm actually going to add a bonus. There's a bonus ebook that you will also go with on that day. That will be emailed to you after the VIP day. So if this sounds like what you are after, I'm there's a June 2018 offer going on right now for only 5 spots. The investment is usually 1,997. But for June alone, for this half-day VIP, discover how to control your emotions without being cold. You pay one-off payment of £997. Like I said, there are only 5 spots. I put a link, my email address above, where the title is, so that you can email me and let me know if you're interested in this half-day VIP day, because it's by application only. I will then send you the link for the application, and then we'll hop on the phone and have a quick conversation to determine whether we're a good fit for one another. So, like I said, I hold this online. Remember, these VIP days, discover how to control your emotions without being cold, is a half-day VIP day on Wednesdays at 3 p.m. BST or 10 a.m. EST for only 3.5 hours. It is for women in the 9-to-5 corporate space who aspire for senior positions and feel they are being held back because they do not know how to control their own emotions. And it's online, so you can join me from anywhere in the world. If this sounds like what you like, then go ahead and send me an email with the title Half-Day VIP Day, and I will get right back to you with a link for you to fill out the application form, as it's by application only. There are only 5 spots in the month of June, and the investment is £997 as opposed to £1,997, which is the usual investment. I hope this has served you. I look forward to working with you, hearing from you if you are there, if you're interested. Please like this page, invite your friends to do so, and please leave your comments. If you have any questions at all, I'll be right back to answer them. Leave them in the comments. God bless you, and thank you for joining me. Bye-bye.